Hello and welcome back to another video or episode, depending on what platform that you are listening to this on. I'm posting this on both YouTube and Spotify, so please make sure you subscribe and be sure to check out my content, as I have a lot of good information up and plenty more coming as well that you don't want to miss. So today's video and topic is going to be all about how I stay on track when it comes to traveling. So how I stay on track when it comes to my fitness goals, and we can even talk about how I manage to run my business successfully even whilst traveling as well, because I know sometimes for people that can be a little bit challenging within itself, but I feel like I've done so much of it that I'm a bit of an expert at it, and plus helps the fact that I have 12 plus years of tracking macros under my belt and running my business for literally like a decade. So let's chat a little bit about traveling. So when it comes to a holiday, I say to my clients, like, I do want you to enjoy yourself and by all means have that off tracking. But if we're talking about like traveling for work and you really, like, it's not really a holiday, you're kind of just like traveling whilst you're working, and that you do want to stay on track, because otherwise if you do too much traveling then and you just go off track for all of that, you're just going to be off track like most of the year, which we don't want. So, I think holidays is a little bit of an exception. By all means, enjoy yourself. It's important to have that balance. However, traveling, you guys know I live between both Dubai and Australia. So I do a lot of traveling, and I've been on like over 50 planes the past 12 months. I've been back in Oz now for about a month or so now, I think. And, yeah, be back in Dubai in a few weeks too, which is exciting. But how I go about it is honestly just planning ahead as much as I can. And I think when you first start, it's natural for it to be a little bit rocky, especially if you're kind of like, that's your first time trying different foods out in that culture or that country. And it's normal to want to be able to indulge a little bit. But then I think if you also tell yourself like, oh no, like this is just like, it's nothing like special, and this is just my routine. I think having that mindset of like, I'm doing it from a place of like living here, instead of like, oh, I'm just here for a holiday. If you're doing it from a place of like living, then it becomes a bit easier, because you're just going to end up going to the grocery store anyway, as if you would in your home country, and have that anyway. You can definitely bring food scales with you. I always bring food scales with me whenever I'm traveling, and I mean, I'm like a walking MyFitnessPal at this point. I can look at food and I just know it. So for me, I'm really good at estimating. But if you aren't and you're still new to tracking macros, I definitely recommend making sure that you do bring some kind of food scales with you. You can even get like little mini ones, which I used to have when I was like in high school. I had these mini ones and I'd taken them to school with me. But then people were like making fun of me that they're like, these are like drug dealer ones. I was like, oh, I didn't know. But you can definitely still use those. There's like nowadays, there's just so many convenience scale options as well. Like there's like lots of compact different ones, so it can make it super easy to just bring on your carry-on. I usually just put it under my under luggage though. So yeah, I always bring food scales with me, and I mean, I've definitely brought like protein powder in the past, but if there's one thing that I always bring with me now is just like my amino energy, which I always have when I'm training, which is just like my own little caffeine. And sometimes I'll bring like Oxy Shred or something like that, but ultimately I always just bring amino energy with me. And then protein, I'm not a massive protein shake drinker like I used to be. Once again, I used to do that, but now I would rather just eat my protein. I'd literally rather just snack on plain meat, which I do because I genuinely do enjoy it. But if I did enjoy drinking protein shakes, then I would definitely be bringing protein powder with me, because that would also make my life easier. But I just don't really enjoy that so much these days. I think I've just drunk so much of it over the years that I've kind of gone off it. But I think having the mindset of I'm doing it from a place of living here will make a massive difference for you, and just going grocery shopping. And I think it's actually really fun going to the grocery stores, to be honest, especially in a different country. You get to try all the different other protein bars, and you have like, I don't know, I just find it so exciting. Maybe I'm weird, but like there's like, you know, different yogurts and like different brand of things which you get to try. Personally, I still think there's nothing better than Australian supermarkets. That's what I miss so much whenever I'm in any other country. But it's still so fun to be able to go to a grocery store overseas and just be able to get your groceries, and just super easy things. Like I really don't even cook too much even whilst I'm away. I mean, I had an air fryer my last Dubai trip that I was there, which made my life so much easier. So I was literally just putting steaks in there. I was having like steak and eggs, and then just buying the pre-made salad. And I think just even buying those convenient foods, and if it means short term that you're not going to be having as nutritionally dense foods, then that's okay. It's short term, you know, your body is an average of what you do over time. So if it's only a short amount of time that you need to get those more convenient, not as nutritionally dense options, then that's okay. So I would just encourage getting the convenient kind of meats as well that's like already cooked. You know, you can get like roast chicken that's already cooked and a wrap. Or one night I made tacos, like I just brought like the taco shells and then the salad, cheese, and then the pre-made chicken. I think if you do that, honestly, it can be pretty easy. And then it's always better to overestimate than underestimate. Oh my gosh, I cannot talk. It's always better to overestimate than underestimate when it comes to eating meals out. If you ever do have to have any of your meals out, which is pretty inevitable whilst traveling. So just plan ahead. That's going to be the main thing. And if you know you're going to have a meal out, put that meal in first, look at the menu, and then work your day around that. And when it comes to gyms as well, I always try and make sure I stay somewhere that has a hotel gym, because it just makes my life so much easier and not having to spend money on going out and going to different gyms and whatnot. So I'll always try and find like a good hotel gym, even if it's just dumbbells. Like one of my last hotels that I was at, the hotel gym was so bad, so minimal, but I made it work, and it was still so much better than nothing, because even though it was like just dumbbells and one bench and some treadmills, I could still do so much with that. But as long as it has a hotel gym, even if it's small, that's fine. It just saves money on taxis and going to the gym and then having to pay. But you can do a lot of free trials at a lot of gyms. I mean, I don't even pay for any gym memberships whenever I'm in Dubai, because they all have like ladies' day, or you know, you can do like free trials, whatnot. So, or they have the things where if you post them on social media, you know, you get to train there for free, that kind of thing. So, which I do anyway, because I just like posting them at the gym a lot of the time anyway. So it just makes sense for me. And I also think that's also really fun, is like going to different gyms whilst traveling too. I love that. And especially Venus Gym, which I've posted about before on my channel multiple times, myself training there, but that's my favorite gym. I absolutely love being able to go there and just being around other bodybuilders who's also just as passionate about the sport and what we do. So ultimately, when it comes to traveling, and staying on track, the main thing is that you're planning ahead as much as possible, that you're overestimating the foods that you're eating, and you just have to, I think, just take a bit of initiative and like look ahead. But when it's such a big part of your lifestyle anyway, you just do those things and you don't even think about it, and you have to adapt depending what time zone you're in. So for me, I'm a morning trainer. I would much rather smash out my weights in the morning and then get along with my client check-ins all day. But when I'm in Dubai, because of the time difference of being 6 hours behind, instead of going to the gym and then getting into my work like the 9 to 5 hours, I'm working like 6 a.m. to like 3 p.m. kind of hours, and then I'll go to the gym of an evening. So I don't love doing that. I would much rather go to the gym in the morning, but I don't know, I feel like I get work anxiety if I don't get straight into my work there, because I'm already kind of like behind. So I feel like I'm playing catch up. I'm waking up and I literally walk to my desk and I get straight into it. So I just adjust my work schedule and my gym schedule as well, so it just works with the time zone. Not that I have to do anything particularly at a certain time, but I just want to be as ahead as I can when it comes to my work, and that's always comes first for me. But just be easy on yourself, you know, it's as long as you're doing your best and you're keeping up your protein and you're still training, that's the main thing, and you can still follow your progressive overload. Like really nothing has to change a whole lot. It's just about planning ahead and if you're only going away for a short amount of time, just make sure you get in some good sessions before and after you go, and then when you go, then it takes off the pressure a little bit. Chances are when you're traveling, you're always getting up your steps, so that's always really easy for me as well. So yeah, that's really all that I would say, guys, when it comes to me staying on track when it comes to traveling, and having that just more of a mindset shift is probably going to be the biggest thing that will help you, of like, okay, I don't need to get too excited, you know, because it's like, we really wouldn't do that where we live, right? Like, we don't go out to eat, or like, I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm just boring, but like, I don't really go out and do anything here when I'm in the Gold Coast. So it's like, why am I going out to eat every night if I'm in Dubai? Like, it just doesn't make sense. So yeah, but food can bring us together, and whether we like it or not, food is a very social thing. So don't be shy to have meals out either, and it brings people together, but don't feel like you necessarily need to do it every night either. Just keep up your protein, and then when it comes to choosing meals on the menu, opt for the healthy options. You know, look at your protein, carbs, and fats. Like, do not choose like the fatty option. Always try and get your sauces on the side. Try and find a lean meat and veg, and you're going to be pretty happy with that. Like, I think if you can try and look at a menu from a point of like what would be easiest to track, then it will make your life a lot easier. And just trying to look at things that have like the highest amount of protein. Like for me, I'm always getting either steak or like chicken breast. Make sure you're doing chicken breast, not necessarily chicken thigh. Obviously it depends on your macros, but chicken breast will be far leaner than chicken thigh. And then steak, of course, can be quite high fat, but it typically won't come with much else except for like veggies and maybe like some potato on the side, which is fine. Just keep in mind they add a lot of oils in, so it can add up a lot. It's not going to be perfect, but we're human and we have to just do our best within the situation that we can. If you're doing that, then you're going to be so much more ahead than if you weren't doing anything. And remember, some tracking is better than no tracking, so genuinely just do your best and you'll be happy days. But if you guys have any questions, feel free to just send me a DM at any point, and I would love to answer any of your questions when it comes to traveling as well. But that is all for today's video and podcast episode. Please make sure you do follow my podcast, The Absolute Podcast, and subscribe to my YouTube, jasminetemplinfitness. And that being said, I'm going to love and leave yous, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!